It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for light to hit the earth. But what's that got to do with leadership? Well, we're about to find out. Right, let's use this really simple analogy. This is you, and this is person A, somebody in your team. Your tasks that you give people, the way that you lead, and even observations that people make of your behavior. These are all signals, and these signals are like the light beams that come from the sun. It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for light to reach planet Earth. You as the leader are responsible for giving people instructions, and every time you make a decision or you give instructions, it's like you're sending a signal to the people in your organization. People aren't going to understand what it's like in the center of your mind at all times. They're only going to be going off their last instructions or the last signal that they received from you. But if you don't give that person the right signal, then you've got a problem. That's when you cause a disconnect. That's when you have a lack of clarity and ultimately a lack of confidence. And all of these things are causing a lag, and all of these things are causing fog. They create productivity paralysis. Across an organization, this is a big problem. So how do we solve this? Well, here are 3 things that you can start doing right away to make this whole thing a lot easier. Number 1, give clear instructions. Verbal instructions are difficult because you can forget what was said. So always write them down. Always send them with a time-based requirement. I need this by then, or this needs to be at this point by Wednesday. Make sure that we are really clear on what needs to be done. Keep it very, very simple. And that way it's easier to manage the effects of things changing with each person in your team. Number 2, avoid streaming consciousness. That means that you are just talking, you're just projecting the inner workings of your mind to somebody else in your team, and you haven't quite figured out what you're going to do yet. You're sort of talking in the way that you would talk to someone at home or your assistant, but what you don't understand is that people are going to take what you say and it's going to make an impact on them. It's going to make a print on the way that they think. And, oh, she said that, so does that mean I should do this? Or I think I heard that, so I better go and do this now. But you haven't figured it out yet. You're just streaming consciousness, and that's a big, big problem. And I see it a lot with business owners that are more of a people person. So an I style or an S style, they're more into harmony and working in teams and collaboration. And so they tend to just invite people into the inner workings of their minds unnecessarily. And that causes a lot of confusion. These are all signals, like sunbeams that you're sending this person, and they're going to pick up on those signals, but it's not going to reflect the picture of your mind from one day to the next. It's always going to be a little bit confusing, a little bit delayed and out of touch. So avoid doing that, and you'll have a lot more peace and a lot more space in your organization. And point number 3, keep notes. Keep a record of what's been said and when it was said. When you go into a meeting, write down your objectives, and then when you've done them, tick them off, and just give yourself a reminder in your notebook. This is why I'm such an advocate of having physical, written pen and paper notepads, because you can keep a record for yourself. It's really cheap. Just buy yourself a notebook. You don't need to employ anyone to do this. You don't need to be fancy pants about it and use AI and all that jazz. Just get a bit of paper and a pen and just write down like all the things that were said, how they were said, when they were said, any observations or signals that you've picked up on, a reflection from the planets, the people in your team. And that way you're going to have a record. And it's really easy. You can just revert back and go, you're right. Last Wednesday in our meeting, I did say that. Well, things have changed a little bit since then, so here's what we need to do now. Or you can say, hey, last Wednesday when we had our meeting, you said this and we said that, and we agreed it would be done by next Thursday. So what's happened? It just makes everything so much easier and clearer. And the strange thing about it is that when you behave in this way, you're still sending signals all the time, but the signals you're sending are less confusing, they're more accurate, and they breed confidence rather than confusion. So adopt this philosophy and these instructions if you really want to go for it and create this clarity in your organization and within your team. And just like if we were to look at the sun now, which I wouldn't recommend, it can hurt your eyes, you will always be seeing an image of the sun 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. So we don't know what's happened since, and it's the same for your team. They don't know what's happened since the last signal they got from you. We need to make sure that we do everything we can to minimize that confusion. There always will be a little bit of lag, but you as the leader have to take responsibility for this. This isn't down to the people. Be the lead and sun in your organization, the center of your organizational universe. Shine as brightly as you can with as much clarity as possible. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, let me know, and subscribe to the channel for more leadership lessons just like this one.